Hi, welcome back. This is Patricia Stuart of Patricia Stuart Originals. Earlier I was playing around with the golden open acrylics. I said let me go back and let me play around with it a little bit more. And I really enjoyed the results that I got from the print. What I love about it is that it's very translucent, transparent. You can see all the layers that were done, and it's just great. The other thing I love about open acrylics is that it washes off my hands a lot easier than the golden fluid acrylics. The cleanup with it is easy too, with just a wet wipe around your workspace. So that's great. But these were great, and I'm going to demonstrate for you. I had used these cutouts that I have made of, you know, like Duralar, a thin plastic, and those are what I used as my mask. And then this is the ghost print of this one here. And you can see all the layers underneath in the ghost print as well. So I got really good results. The thing with the open acrylics is that you have to let it dry, not in between pulls, because I didn't stop and let it dry in between pulls. But the key is to use, you know, thin layers. You don't want to use a lot, but use enough to cover your gel plate, your work surface, so that you have enough paint to pull, but you don't have to use a lot. And I pulled each layer behind the other. They didn't get muddied or anything like that. But at the end, when you're finished, you have to put it somewhere and give it some time to thoroughly dry. But I like the results. So I'm going to attempt to show you what I did with it. When I first started working with the open acrylics, I said let me play around with it a little bit more before I invest in more tubes of paint. So I'm working with 8 tubes of paint with the colors that came with it. So I first started with a blank, with a solid color. And I'm using you could use computer paper, any paper you like, but I'm using some of the Pacon print paper. Okay. So I'm going to start with solid color. Let's see. I'm going to start with some yellow ochre. And I just want to pull a solid print. And this is my 12 by 12, I believe it is, gel plate. I will be using sheets of paper much smaller, but I'm using my 6-inch brayer. I just want to cover enough of the surface so I can pull a solid pull, solid color pull. Usually if I am using a smaller paper size on a larger plate, I have to use my newsprint. I have these large sheets of newsprint paper to avoid getting paint as much as possible on my hands. Okay. So here's my solid print. Okay. Now I just want to get the sheet clean, the plate clean again. Okay. And so now I want to layer color so that I can put my shapes down. Let's see, I use a little crimson hue. Now with the shapes, the first set of shapes that I'm going to put down, I'm not going to need the whole entire size of the plate to do that. Just maybe a smaller area. This is a nice color. Now I had the shapes, a shape like this that I had cut out. Some other shapes that had openings in them, which I love to work with. Because it reveals the color underneath. And I'm just trying to get some design going on here. Now my paper may not embrace the entire width of this, but it'll get most of it. And I keep building on this. Sorry for the noise of paper. So here's the first pull. And turn it around. Here is the first pull with the shapes. Okay, now while we still have this here, we can take another pull. So I have another clean sheet of, I think this is cardstock, and so I'm going to take this pull as is. Another reason I use newsprint is so that I don't constantly get paint on the back of the paper, which happens because your hands are always touching the surface. Okay. And so this is what we pull. But also, when I go in, let me get a little bit of the areas in between clean. See, this is the beauty of the open acrylics, is that because it stays wet longer, you can get multiple pulls. Okay, so now I have this left on the plate, which is fantastic, and that can also be pulled with another sheet. Or if I had a nice background print, I can then pull. But I'm going to put this onto a clean sheet. And take a pull. Show this. And so the open acrylics allows you to get a few pulls that are pretty good, from the ghost print to what's underneath of your mask. And this is what that looks like. And I'll continue to layer these 3 sheets as I go along. Okay. And it comes off easily when you're ready to clean your plate. It just comes up pretty easily. Okay. So I want to go in now. Let's see. Let's try, this is green, but I may want to mix this because it's very dark, so I may want to mix it with a little yellow. Don't want to put too much paint. Okay, I'm switching to my 2-inch Brayer. Now I'm not crazy about this green that they give you here. I'm gonna have to add a little white. It's not a color that's very appealing, at least not to me. I guess if a person was doing landscape, it's the green that you would use for that kind of work. Okay, so I'll leave this nice little texture. That it's created with me mixing colors. Okay. And so I'm going to use these other pieces that I have here. And these are just shapes that I cut out, no rhyme or reason behind them. Just shapes. And I think I will go back in. Now with the open acrylics, if you're using plastic pieces to cut, it stays wet on it, and it takes, you know, putting it between a paper towel. It comes off really easy, but it stays wet onto the plastic. So if you're pulling prints and you don't want to mix that color that you had just used, especially when you pull the ghost, then I suggest you wipe it off, as I have to do with these two pieces that I want to reuse. And it just takes a second to do that. Comes off quite easily. I'm going to put this piece here. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the original sheet that I did. Now let's see what the outcome of that is with the green. And there you have, that's the nice, you can see the colors through the layering. Okay, now I will go in with the ghost print of that, right on top, again, without removing the mask. And here is the ghost. And then I'm going to pull what's underneath, sort of, I guess you would call it a second ghost, but it's pulling up now what is underneath. And again, if you were doing this, these pieces could be placed on another pulled print that you have. Or here's the second ghost. I'm going to pull this. And so you can get 3 really good pulls with the open acrylics. And I love the transparency of it. And there you have it. So now, and if I wanted to, if I had a sheet of white, just, let's see, what can we get? If we add another clean sheet, there we go. Look at the amount of pulls that you can get. Okay, now I'm going to go in again. Let's see. Call me crazy. I have the red going on. Well, I'm going to try a ultramarine blue. Now I could also lighten this with a little white, which I think I will do. Some of these you can mix the colors to, you know, bring the texture or, you know, color that you want. Now I'm going to cover most of the plate with this one because I have another figure of sorts. I had so much paint with the green that it took over the sides of my brayer, and I have to get all of that out before it sticks. So it's not good to use a lot, even if you're mixing. Try to be sparing with it. Okay, I will clean this later. Okay, so I'm going to mix this and kind of get a little lighter blue. Okay, I will cover the majority of the plate with this. So I have another figure here. I'll put there. And once again, I have to wipe off some of these pieces that had the red paint because they're still wet. Let's see, put this there. I'm just trying to fill in some spaces a bit. For design reasons. Okay. So I'm going to go in with the original sheet. Noisy newsprint paper. Since I have a lot of glue. Okay, and so here we have this layer with the mix colors. It's kind of wet. Okay. I'm going to go in to pick up the ghost print. Here's the ghost print. And we still have what's underneath. I'm going to clean up in between a little bit. The other thing is, I learned the last time I worked with this, that if I sort of left this on like this, and put some paint on it, I would then get some nice lines. Maybe I'll, I was thinking I'm going to pull the second ghost. So maybe I'll do that instead of taking what's underneath. Will still be there for another print. But I'll just pull a little bit so I can get a shadow. I had liked when I saw that effect the last time. Let's see if we can recreate that. And the last time that happened because I forgot to pull up the mask, but it turned out to be nice. So here I'm going in with the second ghost, and we'll see what happens with this, if I can still get those lines, the outline. Oh, it did, but it didn't really leave the way it did the last time. I think the choice of paint had a lot to do with it. But now I'm going to go back in by pulling up the mask now and laying it back on top of there. Because it has the blue color underneath. I can either put it on top of here or on this one that I had pulled before. So I think I will just put it on that one. I'm going to pull one more layer with these, and probably will, that second ghost may come out a little bit better for me. But we don't know unless we try things. If you're curious about something, don't be afraid to try it. Okay, so I pulled it up with that. Let's see if I can get any more color. Not really. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my last pull, which will be just the dark blue, because we lightened the blue before. Now I'm just going to use it just in its full color. Going back in with shapes. Okay, and I think I want to use, and that's the other thing good with the open acrylics, is that you can stop and do whatever you have to do, and it will remain wet for quite some time for you, whereas the regular acrylics will start to dry and be of no use. So I like the open acrylics for that reason. So I'm putting down my shapes again. And see if we can bring something slightly different as our last pull. So the only thing is that I have to sort of wipe these off, the paint from the last time. But as I said, it takes just a minute with a paper towel. And your hands will get a little messy, but I'm sure you wouldn't really mind. Okay, so going in once again with the first one. Now this sheet that I continually keep going in with, it is wet to the touch, which is why my hands are a bit messy. Because these paints are staying wet longer. So, okay, and here is all of our layers. You can see all of the layers in between, which is great. Now let's pull the ghost. If I wanted to, I could pull another color, but the 8 colors that I purchased, it's not a color in there that I think would bring it out or do any justice, and I don't want to use white. And here is the ghost. And now, with what's left underneath, the other ghost print, first ghost print, that curiosity kind of messed up. This one, we'll just add this to it. Okay, and so we here have that comes out. And I can build on this if I want to at a later date. So there you have it. The possibilities with the open acrylics. The possibilities are wonderful. And it cleans off the plate pretty easily. Now, when I was doing it earlier, my cleanup sheet ended up looking like this, which is pretty nice. And so I'm going to keep this sheet of newsprint because I can use it as collage paper. Okay, so let's see what we have. This is what the original that we started out with, which is pretty good. Now, because it's still wet, the paper is curling. and so this will have to dry. And here is the ghost print to that. And so you might consider playing around with the open acrylics. I think they're fun. I love the fact of the layers, just the multiple layers. I think we took about 4 pulls, 5 pulls. So I just think that that's pretty good, what it allows you to do, and the nice ghost prints that you can get from it. Thanks for joining me today. Keep doing art. Keep thinking outside the box. Till next time.